Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to 7 o'clock. I am coming to you looking crazy. It's been a rough 12 hours. I have my coffee. Thank you, Black Rifle. No, they don't pay me to say that, but I do so love them. We have a daughter who, if you had followed us last week, we had the flu, pretty sure, and we got better. And now, last night, our daughter was up throwing up last night a few times. And if you have a toddler, you know this is both really sad and really gross. So that has been our last few hours. But ignoring that right now, I want to say thank you because last week we had over 100,000 again across the platforms listening and watching. And so I just want to say thank you to all of y'all. That's amazing. Y'all keep showing up. I'm shocked as to why, but I'm super appreciative. And I thank you for that. So I just hope you, like, share, comment, do all the things. If you can leave a comment, it does really help me out. Apparently, there are algorithms and everything. So share. Apparently, I don't say that enough. Share, share, share. Please do that. It helps. Okay. So I am with y'all tonight. Like I said, I was laughing with Graham because, of course, as all this is going on, I actually had a procedure. Sorry, this is going to be maybe TMI, but I had a procedure because I have a couple of veins that are like intense, if you will, and they're really long. In fact, they're so intense. The ultrasound lady, who I was just dying, because why not have fun wherever you go? Am I right? The ultrasound lady was like following it, and I was like, I know. I said, she's a big girl. And the lady's like, oh, she is a big girl. And then she kept going, like all the way up my leg. And she was like, ooh, she's got her passport. She's a traveler. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I love you. But yes, she is a traveler. So I had that procedure done yesterday. So I'm in like mall stockings on both of my legs. And it's Murphy's Law. And I know some people are like, you shouldn't believe in Murphy's Law. I'm just saying, Murphy's Law is true. Call it the devil, call it Murphy's Law. I don't care, but it's real. And of course, Murphy's Law, as my feet are elevated on a pillow about 1 a.m., the sound no parent wants to hear starts coming through the monitor. And praise God, I have an amazing man of a husband. Can we throw some hearts in the chat for men who are leaders and real men and caretakers? And he jumped out of the bed without any second thought and went up there and rocked her and washed the sheets because I'm like weirdly up in the bed. And he just handled business. And I'm just praise God for our men. So throw some American flags for Graham because he was tired this morning too. It was a long night and it's still continuing on in our home as we speak. But luckily we're about 5 hours with no vomit. So cheers. All right. So I may be jumping around and I may be a little foggy in the brain, but we're going to get through it. I hope y'all's week has been good. I hope last week's episode impressed upon y'all. Maybe some boundaries were set. That'd be amazing. I know I saw a meme. Sorry, I will get to the point, but I'm just talking now. Eva Mendes came out, and I saw it was so funny because all this is happening. And she was like, you should always dress nicely for your husband. To which I don't disagree. And of course, she's gorgeous. I mean, hair and makeup artist and probably a personal stylist help with this plan. But I don't disagree, dress nice for your person. And she was like, you should always, have on things that match and yada, yada. And I was like, you know what? I do agree with that. But can we also throw some just hearts for men who find a hat, a sweatshirt, some sweatpants, that's sexy to them? I'm like, praise God, I married someone who finds that very sexy because honestly, 4 kids and a life, and I'm not good at fashion. Here I am, so thank you, men, for also finding women sexy who are more in the sporty world of fashion or who are more like me, and we try, but oftentimes miss the mark. So thank you for those men. But I don't disagree with you, Eva. Love what you do and you're beautiful. Okay. So we are going to talk today. Y'all have had a couple of questions. It's not going to be a long form nugget like it was last week, I promise. But it is probably going to linger on a couple of questions that y'all have written in. Yes, one of them is about Candace. I'm sorry. We're going to address it. We're going to move on. But the big nugget today is going to be about self-care versus selfishness. This is why. I actually went Friday night, me and one of my best friends, flew to see our other best friend in Florida. It's about an hour flight. And so we had all day Saturday, and then we were back by lunch on Sunday. So a really quick in and out, but our friend moved away. We wanted to see her. It's been over a year since we actually all, minus one of our little group, were able to see her. And so it was interesting, some of the comments I got. So some people were very like, you deserve that, girl. Good for you. Like, not being ugly, like, okay, thanks. But other people were like, you should be with your kids, yada, yada. And I was like, okay, thanks. But it led to a great conversation. And I started thinking about it. Okay, let's talk about the line between self-care and selfishness. So we're going to dive, and it's probably going to step on some toes. And I'm sorry, but we're going there today because that's what we're going to talk about. How culture has honestly done a lot of the me time to an extreme. And so we're going to talk about it. But first, I want you to throw some American flags up. If you have fatigue, if you are exhausted, not from life, but from hearing about Tucker, Megyn Kelly, who I've never liked, P.S., called that one. Who else? All these people, Candace, all these, Marjorie, just the infighting. They say it's infighting. I argue, honestly, it's probably a hot take that I don't think they were ever really on a conservative side anyway. These people are very good at what they do. But anyway, you exhausted? I'm just exhausted from all of it. I feel like we are in some type of high school drama production, and we're not the popular kids. We're just like, we're talking behind the scenes about the popular kids. Like, wow, it's really imploding over there, you know? Whew. But it's crazy, and I'm exhausted. So those American flags, if you're like, I'm over this is exhausting. And to my husband's point really quick, before everybody's like, stick your head in the sand and ignore it, I do feel like you have to combat against these people, just like you would do CNN or the fake news back in the day. So I'm very supportive of that, but I'm also over it and exhausted. So that's all I'm going to say about that, because somebody did ask about the whole infighting. So there's your answer, I guess, to that. Okay, I'm going to really quick share this video that I saw, because I feel like oftentimes in the noise, it's kind of like COVID, the way the brain is wired, we just tend to forget and move on. And so there are certain topics like Epstein that we should not forget. We should continue the pursuit of fighting. And then there's stuff like this, which I'm fixing to play. If I can do this with coffee in my hand. Ta-da! That I'm going to play, because we need to remember that this stuff is still very real. So I'm going to play it, and then we can talk about it.
This author spoke about this because as authors of queer books for kids and teens, it's unfortunately something we have to think about a lot. When Penguin asked me what I wanted for my cover, I said I wanted it to be gay enough for queer kids and teens to clock it, but for homophobic parents to just think it's a friendship story. So I said, no holding hands, make my character look gay. And it was actually my cover artist's idea to have one of them looking at the other and this awesome flowers growing between them, like their crush that's forming. So what do you think? Would you guess this was a queer book?
Okay. So if you did not catch that, this is saying, hey, we want to make sure parents don't know what the kids are reading, and we need to get this information into children's hands. So let's make sure the covers of all these books don't look too queer or gay. And I just want y'all all to be reminded and to remember, library, school, anytime the government's involved in general, you are your kids' parents, and you need to make sure, even as young as kindergarten, that you know what they are reading and what material is coming out. I am a homeschool mom. Okay, homeschool. There was a co-op where our mobile library came to our school, and they handed out, unbeknownst to any of us, and don't worry, we handled it, like a joke, like the kids' jokes or whatever. As young as a kindergartner got it, and it had gay representation all over it. And we were like, okay. And of course, it was free. I was like, oh yeah, here's comics. That's what I'm trying to say. It was like a comic. And so again, we were all over that situation, but you do not know what is being handed out. And unfortunately, you can't just look at covers anymore, because they are determined to get this into your children's hands, because you as parent, you do not know best. And you are either homophobic or you just don't understand, and your children need to. So I just want to make sure that you see that book, number one, and that you are aware and still in your mind that you need to be very vigilant about what your children are reading and what books are coming through the school system. Okay, so that's that. Number 2, let's get to this. This is the first one up. Why are people still watching Candace? I feel like this is a weekly question a lot of you are asking me. The truth is, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know what to say. I don't know how many things to combat or ways to show that she's lying. But here's one. We'll just play this and, again, judge for yourself, see what you think. But I mean, at this point, honestly, I don't know what to say, y'all. If you're still on the Candace train, it's strange to me. All right, let's just start it here.
Take care.
Ain't they ain't gonna do that? Like I don't say ain't.
See how we're connecting dots?
Unique dialect.
Anything
regional,
can be conspiracy.
Ain't gonna do that. I don't know why these hyper produced videos feel very strange to me.
Of course they do.
You don't really have to prove you're alive. Just be alive.
She's
just
very good
be
at
alive. Just go to a press conference, do what you used to do. So that's where this is going. This is kind of all this is going on. Skylar said they're like posting more content now.
Oh, producer's flagging you. Wait,
where'd you say he was, Skylar? Like at the Air
quiet,
Force Base
he
today,
is alive.
greeting people. I think that's happening while we're live on the show.
Oh yeah.
But I wanted to give you guys a little background on where those rumors are coming from.
Spin it.
Okay.
Oh yes, yeah. Look, he is doing
people
being
think
alive.
That they've killed BB or that BB was killed, and that they're using stunt doubles and AI, and they're now doing a lot to show that he is alive.
This is the best part, though.
There's the background of that, guys. We will be right back after.
We're going to be back.
We're
going to take a break because my next 15 minutes of what I was going to talk about he's actually dead just got ruined. So we're going to have to go back to that. So again, if you're still watching Candace, I don't really know what to say. That's not even about Erica. She's trying to connect Erica to Epstein. All this stuff is absolutely just insane, still vile. My opinions aren't changing. I don't know what else you want me to say about that. I really don't. Y'all know how I feel about her. Okay, this came out over the weekend, and I do want to address this one. And this is actually my ex account, because this one was also kind of interesting. Hang on. Y'all know I gotta figure these things out.
I don't know why these hyper produced videos feel very strange to me.
Hang on, sorry. Okay, this one came out, I don't know, yesterday, I think. Here. Doop.
From someone that works at Aloe, and they looked up Erica's account, and it appeared that she had spent over $1,000 buying Aloe clothing the day after Charlie was. You can see it clear as day on the receipt. Erica Francevay, her maiden name, purchased $1,043.30 worth of clothing on September 11th, 2025 at 11 a.m. Guys, put this into perspective.
Guys, put this into perspective. And then he's like, she's not even a fashion icon anymore. Oh, what is she doing? Okay. First of all, if you scroll up, you can see, get your facts right. Oh, look, that's me. All 2,000 of my followers. But get your facts right. She wasn't home, you idiot. She was in Utah. She had no clothes, because what is a common human response to when your husband is assassinated? You go immediately to where he is located. I'm not worrying about anything. I think she was in ripped jeans. She's just going. You just go immediately because you want to be there. And so, yeah, she had no clothes. 2 others didn't either. Not that it's anyone's business, but 2 other people didn't either. So the 1,000 wasn't even spent on her. It was on 3 people. But the part that, Graham talks about and that I agree with, that I won't go too much into, because if you watch his show, he did. But Aloe needs to hold whoever is leaking this responsible, because it is getting wild. And I'm not even going to share some of the things that happened personally on our end that aren't even near as extreme as what Erica obviously is going through. But the fact that there's no repercussions for people just leaking and going into your personal accounts is really scary. So yeah, we need to set that record right. We need to hold Aloe accountable. And that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But this is the problem with conspiracy theories, as we have talked about. It's just, they're intriguing. And it's like, for these people, it is like a reality TV show. But unfortunately, it's not reality TV. It's affecting real lives in horrific ways. And it really needs to end. And of course, who's at the center of all of this, Real Housewives? It's Candace Owens. She is the ringleader. Wake up. She is vile. She is evil. People are like, oh, she's not demonic. She's just asking questions. No, she's not. She's attacking. She's a Jezebel spirit. And again, I say and firmly believe this, she would be who made nations and kingdoms fall back in the day. And that's truly what I believe. And you're seeing it in real time. Again, if you just step away and like come up from the Candace bubble, like you start to see that. But this goes back to people are addicted to outrage. It goes back into the psychology of conspiracy theories that we already talked about. It's people, it's power, it's fame. What is that old saying? Follow the money. You'll figure out the source. Honestly, with all these people, Tucker, Megyn Kelly, Marjorie, especially Candace, follow the money. Why don't, do your own research, follow the money, and you'll see exactly what these people stand for themselves. All right. This one is my favorite clip. Oh God, we're running out of time already. Y'all, I need like a 2-hour show where I can just talk. Y'all are like, oh God, no, that'd be terrible. But seriously, we'd have a good time. Okay, this is one of my favorite clips. And this is awful. I know. I'm sorry. Look, I'm really tired, but I'm just going to play it and y'all can be like, Ellisa, you're an idiot. And that's fine. But if you also like this clip, you could throw some thumbs up for me as the clip is playing, because over this week, the last few days, this beautiful gem emerged. Again, never been my favorite person. Always thought something was off with her. And clearly I was right. But let's just play this beautiful gem.
He's all bark and no bite as soon as you punch them back. And look, I'm all for taking the high road, and I did try.
She tried.
But after 111 tweets, increasing the security profile in my own life and attacking me in the most vile terms, I think anybody could see that I was entitled to one below the belt punch. Right? When they go low, we go micro penis. That's the way it's going to be. At least insofar as that bully is concerned. And we go.
If you have children, I'm so sorry. Maybe earmuff them, but this is how my mind works. But again, I'm running on caffeine and no sleep and really weird, like tight compression socks that are on me at the moment. When we go, when they go low, we go micro penis. I mean, honestly, as a female, if you're going to really insult me constantly, which a lot of people do, because, I'm Graham's like stupid wife who has no opinions of her own. But, when we go low, my immediate thought is to also say, well, you have a micro penis. I mean, that's mine. I mean, throw some thumbs up. Is that also your initial first response? She did try to take the high road. She did say that. She tried. But I think what's so funny about her is that, hang on, I can't get my mouse to do what I need it to do. For some reason, it's like incredibly tiny. Oh, it's because it's on the wrong one. I got it. Okay. She is playing the victim card, which makes me just want to gag because, all these, however many tweets, she counted them, first of all, of Levin and saying this. To be clear, I don't really like him either. But she's playing this victim card when everybody's been not getting upset with you because you haven't spoken out about what you said when Erica came on to talk to you, that you would defend her and that she was your friend, and you've said nothing. That's why people are upset with you. But this is just wild. And then I told Graham, the way my brain works is, one, why? But also, like, that's an odd thing to throw out there. So how do you know? Like, how do you know that? That's interesting. Obviously, I don't think there was anything connected, but hey, how you know? And then I'm like, hey, Levin, this is really easy to prove. So, I mean, this one we can nip in the bud. No pun intended, I guess. But obviously, don't show your junk. Nobody wants to see that. But this was just wild to me. And this infighting, I mean, nobody cares. And I don't know, this backfired really poorly on her. I think that you are seeing in real time that Charlie has started a revival after his assassination. The most beautiful thing I've ever seen, truly. And I don't think the devil will win, but he is definitely on the attack of just causing so much chaos and destruction, which is what he does. And again, go to the root. Where did this start? And follow the trail. And I think common sense should reign supreme here, but unfortunately, I think a lot of Americans are lacking that. Also, you can look at these people's histories, truthfully. I mean, just go to what they used to stand for and how they're chameleons. And they're really good at it. I mean, they have been paid a lot of money. Power, fame, money. 3 biggest things that will change a person. What do you not want to lose when you have power, fame, and money? Your power, your fame, and your money. And so, yeah, of course we see they're reading the tea leaves, right? Trump's going to be out of office soon. You're starting to see realignments and shiftings. Yeah, and they're going to hope that they're right. This is how it works. And it's super frustrating and it's annoying, but it's just how it goes. So, I don't know. I say get rid of all of them. And then I'll say, as a brag on my husband, the reason he started going against Candace, I say again, and why he can is because he's a good man. Yeah, he had demons from his past. And guess what he did? He broke the generational cycle. He's a great husband, a great father, my best friend. And he had to work to get there. It does not come naturally, especially when you're from a broken home. So Candace doesn't have crap on him. Know why? Because he is the same on camera as he is off camera. He is who he is. And he loves the Lord. And she can't only go after him so much and spread crazy lies because there ain't nothing to go after. Because our life literally is an open book on both ends, fixing to be. Ooh, book plug comes out in May. But anyway, if you can go down the rabbit hole, sure, go for it. But make sure you come up for air. And if you are the type who really gets sucked in and it drains you a lot, then you really probably just need to back off and stop and refocus on what actually matters and what's important right now. All right. Oh, and I did want to say that too. The reason we can speak so confidently against Candace is because we do know all these people. And there are some things, admittedly, like we don't know 100%. We have our sources and our contacts and we think, yeah, 90%, we're pretty sure this is right, or 99 even. I can 100% tell you that Erica Kirk is not associated with any type of pedophile ring with Epstein or any of that. That is why we go so hard, because that is 100% what we know of all the... It's gotten so wild. I 100% know that she and Turning Point USA did not intentionally have Charlie Kirk assassinated. 100%. So that's why we go so hard, because this is things we know 100% to be truth. Okay, let's move on. Oh, wait, one more thing. Candace is very good, especially like tying her to like different situations. There is only 6 degrees of separation. That's in psychology. Let's remember that. So you, the listener, me, Graham, can we go into Candace and George 6 degrees of separation? You can tie anyone to anything. If you look hard enough, that's just fact. And so, all these people are like, ooh, she's found these things. One, there's absolutely no receipts. What happened to the Egyptian airplanes? The stuff is just crazy. Literally, it's crazy. But number 2, you can tie anyone to anything if you look hard enough. So, go with the lies if you want. But that's what I have to say about that. All right. I'm going to skip over this because unfortunately, oh my gosh, we're running out of time already. Y'all, I don't have enough. I wanted to say that the brain is wired for threats. Again, if we go back, we remember we talked about dopamine hits last week, okay? So the brain automatically scans for danger. It's our brain's survival system. It's the amygdala. It has anger, fear, threats, and justice. The brain reacts. When it reacts, it releases dopamine and adrenaline, makes everything like content feel important. And so you remember that's how that works. Well, this is why people are addicted to it. You say, well, why do people keep going back to Candace? Why are people listening to Tucker? It's because their brains are literally starting to be addicted to those dopamine hits. What's next? Ooh, this is urgent. I want to be a part of the in crowd. I want to know what's going on. And so if you want to explain it like that to people, that may be helpful. But that's why people are going back, because they're literally starting to be addicted to it. Every time, a new piece of information gets discovered, it's another dopamine hit. And so again, Candace, Tucker, all these people are very good at what they do. They've been doing this a long time, okay? This is why conspiracy communities often become like a self-reinforcing loop, is because they just keep going, right? And another thing you remember is that social media actually rewards, like the algorithms flow much faster and much better with anger and with outrage than with joy. And that's just a proven fact. So all that to say is healthy skepticism. Remember this. It's what is the evidence? What is the simplest explanation? And what could prove you wrong? Remember those three things as you go. Curiosity without falling into the outrage addiction. I don't know if you hear, but Lola's crying. So I'm like, is everything good? I think everything's good. Okay. So again, remember, wisdom comes from slowing down long enough to ask, is this the truth or just a story that my brain finds really satisfying, that dopamine hit? If it's not the truth, what do? Stop listening to it. All right. That was that. Now, let's go into, is everybody still with me? American flags. Hey, American flags, if you agree with me. Yes, no, hopefully so. All right, let's go back to self-care. Is it self-care or is it selfish? This one may be a little touchy, guys, but we're going to go there. Is it selfish? This is a question. Is it selfish to go away for a mom's weekend or a dad to get away? And then what is the boundary? What is the line between self-care and selfish? So we are going to talk about all of that. All right, let's first define what healthy self-love or self-care is. This is a good place to start. I don't even love saying self-love, but we're going to go there. Healthy self-care is about respecting your own well-being while still valuing others. Okay? It looks like you can set healthy boundaries. You take care of your mental and physical health. You do not tolerate any type of abuse or manipulation. And you know your worth. Psychologically, it's tied to self-respect and emotional regulation. So a healthy mindset says, I matter, but you also matter. And I think we end that you also matter. That gets left out a lot. And so that's what we're going to go for. All right. So self-care says something like, I need rest tonight so I can function well tomorrow. That makes sense. Selfishness says, I don't care how my choices affect anyone else. This is what I'm doing. All right. So here are some signs that you may be shifting from self-care to selfishness. You no longer consider the needs of others. That seems pretty obvious, but let's look at it. For example, if you're in a relationship or you are married, the girls or the guys want to go out for a weekend and your significant other is uncomfortable with that or in a space where they might need you that weekend. If it's going to cause a fight or a major rift and you say, well, I'm doing it and you just need to get over it and you go, that may be a line that you need to look at. And you say, well, you don't know my significant other. You're right. I don't. But I do know if you are married, you've made a vow to that person. That's your person, not your girls and not your boys. And if it's going to cause a significant rift, y'all need to discuss, figure out, set a boundary for both of y'all on how this is going to look in a healthy relationship. Again, I'm always assuming that you are in a semi-healthy relationship. But that would no longer be considering the needs of your spouse or your child, but we're going to get there. All right, this is the big one. You use boundaries, but using boundaries to avoid responsibilities, or as I've seen in this generation, you use boundaries to avoid hard conversations. So a decade ago, when we started counseling, it was all about setting boundaries. People genuinely don't know how to set a boundary. And that's still very much a thing, right? How do you set a healthy boundary? And we can talk about that another day. But lately, the shift that I am seeing is people are setting so many boundaries, but if you get to the root of it, it's really just a way to not have difficult conversations. So we're really avoiding grief or we're avoiding certain topics. I've seen this a lot in my generation with moms and dads. I just don't like the way they make me feel, or they're just, they're narcissistic, or they're bipolar, or they just don't know how to talk to me. They don't respect me. And so I just set a boundary and we don't speak anymore, or we never talk, or. And you're not supposed to avoid hard conversations. So you can go to another extreme of where you're setting way too many boundaries, and that is not healthy either. That's really just using it as a scapegoat or an excuse not to have those hard conversations. That also falls into framing. I've seen this too. You frame any disagreement as people attacking your space. Well, that's just you attacking my space. I need my space. And then now it's gotten too much. So now I'm going to set a boundary and I'm not going to see this person again for a long time. Now, again, if it's a very toxic relationship, of course, you need to set a boundary. But more times than not, what I'm seeing now is people over boundarying everything. So you can just live in your world and it be perfect and nobody has to have hard conversations. And that is not healthy at all. Okay. And lastly, a shift may be occurring if you are expecting constant validation from others. That one's pretty self-explanatory. So in all these cases, self-care become more like self-prioritization at everyone else's expense. Okay. And we live in the generation of me. The most ironic part to all of this is that people who prioritize themselves often do not recognize this. So if you are regularly cutting people off, setting strong boundaries, drama seems to follow you, and you are labeled, well, a cuss word by more people than not, you might want to look inward because it may be something that you are doing that you need to look at the root of that and why you are doing that and sort that out, probably through counseling or a mentor or something. All right, so why the confusion in culture? Why is this confusing? Well, let's talk about it. Modern messaging, I love it. It always promotes individual first philosophy. You hear things like this: cut everyone off who challenges you. Protect your energy at all cost. You do you. Usually a you do you, boo, right? And you don't owe anyone anything. These are common phrases. I could keep going, but these are ones you hear on TV shows. You need, you need a girl's night. You need a guy's night. You do you. All those ideas can be helpful, right, in toxic situations, but if you apply them across every relationship, if you apply them universally, then it actually erodes the foundations of commitment, forgiveness, community, responsibility. That's not healthy and that's not good. So healthy relationships always require some level of sacrifice and patience. Here is a Christian pastor. I don't actually know him, so I'm hoping he's a good one that I'm sharing. But I want you to listen to this and see what you think.
Because putting yourself first is the most natural thing that we do. And I can't speak for you, but the world encourages my self-obsession. Over and over again, culture tells me, do what's best for me. I deserve my me time. My needs come first. Therefore, I'm going to focus on myself right now. Yet God's word tells us in Philippians chapter 2 that we are to do nothing out of selfish ambition. Pause on that for a moment. No behavior, no action should ever be done from selfish motives or vain conceit. But rather in humility, we value others. We consider others better than ourselves. We value others above yourselves, Scripture says, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of others. Think about that for just a moment.
Interesting. So those hearts, I try to think of things that are easy. Like I want to say different emojis in the chat, but I try to think of ones you might have readily on hand. Throw some hearts in the chat if you agree with that. If you agree that potentially our culture is spinning too far on this side of the pendulum instead of being balanced. So I tend to agree with that, especially if you're a Christian. You can let me know what you think. I think we are very obsessed with the me culture right now, which is why I'm speaking against and to that, right? The protect your energy at all costs, that's not a biblical way of thinking. And I think, again, we just need to combat that. Now, to be clear, this is not me saying, burn it at both ends, mama. Don't take a break. Don't ever go out with the girls. Guys, you cannot be around guys in community. Don't rest. Keep going until you drop. You need to burn out. Never get away. Never go on a date. That is not what I'm saying at all. But again, I am saying there's a healthy balance because I feel like we are swinging kind of far on this side of the line right now. If you are the center of your own universe and you are a Christian, then that is a big red flag and that's a problem. How do you realize that? Again, a lot of times you have to self-reflect. People don't just notice that. You just need to get away and start to think about what are you prioritizing? What do you feel like you need, right? Just step back, journal, look at it, and then correct it. All right, let's listen to this. I love this clip of Tim Tebow. I think it's a really good one. I'm going to play it really quick. Sorry, it's tiny, but that's what we got.
People that know and love Jesus and love people that get to heaven well rested. I want to get to heaven exhausted.
I pray you do. I pray you're beat. I pray you're exhausted.
And I'm not saying I don't believe in the biblical form of rest, but when God calls us to run, run. Advance speedily like an athlete moving forward with full effort, full effort. Like God didn't call us to meander, to jog. The sad thing for me is how much of my life and our lives have we run after the job, run after the promotion, run after the fame, run after the career. But the calls of Christ, we jog.
Yeah.
For the suffering people, we jog. For the Great Commission, we jog.
I'm going to stop it there. He keeps going. But I go back to that a lot of times. You're like, how does that apply? I'm getting there. I go back to that because as a mom, sometimes when that's your first ministry, you start to think like, this is it. Or, okay, I know this is my first ministry, but you're inside of you still feels like there should be more. You're tired or all the different feelings. Feelings are okay, by the way. You're allowed to have them. You should not feel guilty for that. But I'm reminded of this even in like things like parenthood or working at your job. God has you where you are, and that is your ministry, especially your family. So go at it hard. And it's okay if you're exhausted. We all are. Just keep going and remember what's important and remember the why of, okay, I may be exhausted, but he's blessed me with 4 beautiful children. And I can feel sad. I can have like, I want to pop their heads off sometimes, right? When teens are talking back to you and you're like, oh, but you remember the why. And so I really like this. Run your race, run it well. And I already hear some of you saying, but that's Tim Tebow. What a life. I don't play pro football. I don't have an anti-sex trafficking. That's amazing. He's doing great work. But I would challenge you in that thought process because you do have a purpose. You are uniquely made and your purpose is amazing. If you are meandering through your life, then you need to reassess and pray because the truth is everyone can lead a life full of purpose, but they usually just never make the jump. God has given you passions. We've talked about this. He's given you purpose. Most people are too scared to jump. They get too used to the mundane 8 to 5. Even though they feel like God's tugging them maybe to another area, they feel like God's tugging them into writing a book or a different calling. They feel that, but they push it down and they push it down, or they ignore that little voice, or they're like, I just can't, or maybe when finances are right, or maybe when the kids get out of the house, or maybe, and it just keeps going on. And so I would challenge you, that is the devil at work. He doesn't need to do anything else but create doubt in you, and that is his best playbook, and he still uses it today. And that's just fear, and it is a killer of purpose. So I would encourage you to remember that, yeah, you may not be Tim Tebow. Who cares? He made you for a reason. And so if you feel like you are in that mundane season of life, I would say pray. I ask God for adventures. I specifically pray that. So talk to your Heavenly Father, because I can guarantee you one thing that is true is the Christian life is anything but boring. Also, I did write this down. I want to make sure I say it. Purpose changes your cravings. What do I mean by this? I mean, when you are filled with Jesus, you don't need constant escape the same way anymore. You're already full. This is why it's so important to determine why you need me time. This is all going back. What is the root of why you need me time? And what I truly see, honestly, me and Graham have talked about this, is a lot of bored moms and dads, a lot of bored girlfriends and boyfriends who the me time isn't really about resting and realigning with their spirit, but it's about getting away, having fun, right? Creating chaos, having like a back in the day when, euphoric feelings of when you were a party girl or a party guy. It's adventure. And they crave that. Why? Because they're leading boring lives. And why is that? It goes back to what I say. I say it's because you're missing your purpose. Because when you're in your purpose and you are running that race well and you're seeking after God and you're pursuing him, the Christian life, again, is anything but boring. So I'm challenging you to consider the why to your self-care. What is the actual root? So many people never really pause to understand themselves and much less the reason why they do what they do. And that's like step 1 in therapy, right? Why are you doing what you do? Step back, reflect about your life, think about it. And if you come to the conclusion, yeah, I need this to get away, I need this because it brings back these feelings, or I'm just bored. And when I get away, I can go dancing, or I can feel like I used to feel back when I was 22, or whatever the reason. And I would say you need to assess that, right? And you need to look at that. Okay, now this one's for the mamas. Also, if you agree with that, hit the like button, share. I know this is a very unpopular opinion, and I'm sorry if I'm stepping on toes, but I'm genuinely trying not to shame anyone that does nothing. I just want you to think about why you're doing what you do, and the push against this culture that says, hey, it should all be about you, when actually it should all be about Jesus. That's not true. And again, that is not saying you need to be in your home and never leave and isolate. Actually, that's the worst thing you can do. You should be in a community that fills your soul and that doesn't drain you. Okay, so let's look at this. This one specifically now for the caregivers in the house. Got to keep remembering to hit this, share this tab instead. All right, here we go.
It can pendulum swing to the other side where it's like, I'm the most important. I have to take care of myself. It's all about me, 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 me. I'm like, no, it's not that. There's been seasons, especially like early motherhood, postpartum, or just hard seasons where it's like, we're all just doing the best that we can. I'm not waking up early. This is what I'm giving to my life. I can't. And even when my little was a baby, because I've done this for so long, like I know how to take care of myself. I'm really good at showing up for myself and getting my needs met. But when I had the introduction of a third, and then she's up all night, my other kids are up because they're sick or whatever, and it was realizing I can actually still be present even though all of my needs are not being taken care of. Because I think we can find ourselves in that camp way too much. Like, I need to take care of my needs. I'm first. I have to. And it can almost just feel like it actually goes against the season that you're in. And so there's a grace in different seasons. I think it can.
I love that. And I love how she ends. There is a grace in different seasons. And I think it's important to remember that there are different seasons, just like in marriage. There are different seasons where you may have to give more than other seasons. And so it's important to identify what season are you in. And I know, again, this may step on some toes, but we aren't in the burnout culture anymore, which was kind of the parents before us, right? It was just, you have to give everything. You could never rest. And so now, like everything, life is in balance. So now, like everything, you see the burnout culture over here, give it all, doesn't matter. And then you have over here, it's me time. I have to go to the spa every week. I need this, I need that. I have to have all these appointments. I need a girls' trip at least once a month. Or I need to have a massage. I need to go to bed by this certain time, and I can't do these things anymore. Or I need a date night every, 2 days out of the week. All these things to make sure that me is okay. So life is balance, okay? Now, this specific one does speak to seasons, and so there will be harder seasons. That is life. If you're in this boat, I don't want you to feel guilty for needing a night away. We all need that. Obviously, I hope that's not coming across that way. The point is the root. Healthy self-care should actually make you better in relationships and not less present in them. And I think about that a lot when it comes to motherhood, because moms absolutely need time away. I will say it again because I'm pushing hard on the other side. Moms absolutely need time away. That is real. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If you are totally depleted, just like in marriage, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Okay? There's a healthy balance, though. Somewhere the message shifted culturally from take care of yourself so you can love your family well to sounding something more like escape your family because they're draining you. And again, they may not say that, but if you are scrolling and if you're looking at the news and if you're just watching how different people are modeling their life, that's the messaging that's coming across. And that is where I say, okay, we've swung way too far to this side. Moms do need space. Hunty, I know this. I am in the throes of, I have a toddler who wants to be in the restroom with me all the time, wants to be in the bathtub with me all the time. That used to be my quiet place. It is not anymore, and that's totally fine. Again, a season. I also have a preteen who love her. She talks nonstop, and I love that about her. But there's no privacy. Like, she's always, so between the two, and then you throw in boys, Yeah, I mean, that is the season. And so you embrace the season, but that doesn't mean it's not necessarily like sometimes you do just want to be in peace. And I think that's okay. But the point is, besides, it's knowing that you do need rest. Okay, that's the point. You need rest. You need adult conversations. You should not be isolating, right? Get in a small group. You need time to reset your nervous system. Does that mean going out every week? No, I don't think so. I think it means you may have to wake up a little earlier to journal. Okay, well, you say they're up at 5 a.m. I know. There's not a perfect system to this, but it is finding little places of time, little pockets where you could reset. Maybe it is in the car line. It's just finding those pockets, okay? The goal of a break is restoration, not avoidance. The goal is when you come home, you are rested, right? And you are restoring relationship. The purpose of stepping away should be so you can come back more patient, more joy-filled, and more present. Not exhausted, resentful, and then you need more me time because you went out or whatever and you didn't actually rest, you didn't realign your spirit, and you come home, now you're just exhausted and you're kind of bitey at your kids, you're kind of snippy if we're being honest, and you need more me time now. I would say maybe that's a red flag. We should probably look at that. All right, so kids don't actually need a perfect mom. We know this. What do kids need? Kids need a mom, kids need a caregiver who wants to be with them. And it always comes back to who is present with them. All right, self-care should refill your heart so you can give again. And when self-care becomes about constantly escaping the people who need you the most, your children, it's worth asking the question, have we crossed the line? If we have to constantly escape them, have we crossed the line? All right, I thought this was a really good clip. I'm fixing to share it. It's specifically for the 0 to 3 age category, if you're in that. Here we go here. And then here we go here. All right, here we go. It's like a minute, so just bear with it but she has good points.
For the economy. And of course, it's good for the economy to have 2 working parents, to get women out into the workforce as quickly as possible, because their concern is not the mental health of children. And, when they say your children will be fine, they know nothing about children. They're just saying that because it is great for the economy short term to have parents go out to the workforce, Both of them, and put their children in institutional care or leave them behind as early as 6 weeks. But the problem is that children they have irreducible needs, which when not met, particularly in these critical periods of brain development, which is 0 to 3 and 9 to 25, but particularly 0 to 3, if those irreducible needs are not met, then those children don't form, they don't develop in the same way, and then are more susceptible to breakdown later. So what we know is that there's something called attachment security, which is formed not in the first few days, not in the first few months, but actually in the first 3 years of a child's life, that is what helps children to feel safe and secure and loved, and as if the environment is a trustworthy place. That forms the foundation of a child's personality, but it also forms the foundation for future mental health and the ability to regulate emotions and deal with it.
All right, I'm going to stop there. I thought this summed it up so beautifully. So if you didn't catch the beginning, she's talking about an economist. And of course, they're like, yeah, your kids will be fine. You hear everybody say, yeah, go back to work, your kids are fine. And I'm not saying your kids aren't fine. Please do not hear that. But I am saying you cannot listen to any type of government system about what to do with your children because they're not worried or concerned about your child's mental health. What we know about the brain, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is 0 to 3 imperative years. Imperative years for a child, not only in forming personality, but in the attachment, where they feel safe. You heard her say this. And those years go by so incredibly fast. So yes, I do think it's worth it to, you may be in the throes of it for a few years. And it's tough. It's really tough. But it helps to remind yourself of the why. When you can hear that and you can remind yourself of that, all of a sudden it changes the framing of, just another day to, wow, I have these beautiful 3 years to form the foundation, to be the anchor emotionally for my child. What a weight and responsibility, but also, wow, like how amazing that is that you as caregiver, mom, dad, have that with your child. And so I really think a lot is framing the season that you're in. So we know that consistency, it has emotional security. She said it gains trust, regulates stress, and attachment. All things children need that also are proven to help reduce mental health issues later in life. Okay, that doesn't mean a mother can't have a life. All right, let's go back. So I already hear some of you, being upset about this. That does not mean that. What matters though? Predictability and presence. Predictability and presence in 0 to 3 matters so much when kids are young. And that's why I think this conversation about self-care is very important in our culture right now. Moms absolutely deserve a break, okay? You deserve, well, actually, we don't deserve anything. I even hate using that word. But yes, you deserve a break. You deserve rest. You deserve friendships, time away. But the goal of that time, again, should be to come back and be extremely present. In the last decade, what is the messaging with mamas and daddies? It's protect your peace, take your time, you deserve a break. Don't feel guilty, you need this. That's the messaging. Protect your peace at all costs, right? And those ideas come, again, as an overcorrection, I really do believe, from the burnout generation. So it is in balance. So what's the balance, Ellisa, you ask? I'm so glad you asked me. Let me share with you the balance. Self-care that strengthens family life and not replaces it. Strengthens it, not replaces it. So how do you say that? Okay, well, if you're going out for a weekend and it's causing a rift, you need to look at that. If it's causing a rift with your kids, if it's causing a rift with your husband or your wife, you need to assess that. Y'all need to have conversations about that. A healthy balance would be occasional girls' weekend. Occasional. In the first 3 years, careful about that, honestly, but an occasional girls' night out then. And when I say girls' night out, I don't mean you're going to the bar and hooping and hollering. Like, these need to be, I'm always going in like the Christian context of it should be reviving your soul, right? It looks like a weekend away once in a while. With your spouse, that'd be great. Your best friend, focus on y'all's relationships, right? Or hobbies and quiet times, journaling, praying, exercising, going for a walk. Daily little things that you can implement to help kind of fight against that. A small group once a week. Relationships with other mothers where you can go to the park and let the kids go or have them come to the house. You don't need to be isolated. Please never hear me say that, because we know the devil just has a heyday in isolation. So isolation is never the answer. But less healthy patterns become a problem when you're escaping and it becomes frequent, right? So you're having to go out once a week, or you're going out a lot more than not. You regularly disengage from family responsibilities. But the biggest thing is the messages your kids are receiving is that they are a burden and we need to get away from you. And you say, well, I would never say that. But remember, you don't have to say those things outright, because children are very, very perceptive about emotional signals. They are very perceptive. So you may not be saying, yeah, you're a burden, I need to get away from you. But if you're constantly leaving or constantly like, oh, I need this, I need to get away. Even how you're framing things, kids are attuned to that. They pick up on that. And so what are they processing now? They're processing, okay, you have to get away from me, even if that's not the case, but you need time away from me. So am I the problem? Or why would you need time away from me so much? What's wrong with me? And so again, you just have to think about the messaging and how things are coming across. We know that children obviously look for you to comfort and safety cues. So what does it look like when the caregiver is emotionally present and engaged? Kids tend to show better emotional resilience, fewer behavioral issues, and stronger self-confidence. Again, this isn't about perfection. It's about reliable connection. And that goes back to, at the end of the day, what we talked about a couple episodes ago, you can just sit with your kids, be present, tell them you love them no matter what happened during the day. You are just showing, I am glad to be with you. And that is the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that you can do for your kids. Okay, I'm out of time, so I'm going to end on this note. Remember that children won't remember how well rested their mom or dad is. Praise God, because I feel like I'm exhausted a lot. But they will remember whether or not you wanted to be with them. And of all the things we talked about, hear me say, this is not about shame or guilt. This is really about the root and how what I'm seeing culture shifting to, so that hopefully we can come back and center it and be more balanced in how we are speaking to other moms, pouring life into them, but also speaking truth against a culture that is really saying, even to the point of, I regret having kids. That was shown this last weekend on some viral video. And that's so discouraging. So don't be discouraged. And you can always make changes. That's the beauty of your brain, and that's the beauty of life, is every day, God says, every day, his mercies are new. Every morning, you can make decisions and you can make changes in small steps, whether it's just every night praying over them, telling them you love them, saying you're happy to be with them, or maybe it is starting to assess, maybe I have played a little more into this side of culture, instead of coming back and being like, okay, yeah, I need to be spiritually attuned, not so much just relive a life of when I felt free and want to experience, adventure again. And this is the only outlet I have. Well, then I would say challenge your outlet. Adventure is a great thing. God is a God full of adventure. Read the Bible. We are living testimonies to the adventures of God, and we are no one special. So I promise, if we have adventures, you can have adventures too. But you have to be looking in the right places, right? And so I would encourage you, again, to go back. What do you dream about? What are you passionate about? All these things tie together, and start writing it down, and then start praying over it. And then the biggest thing is you have to jump. That's the hard part. You got to start moving that boat, sister or brother. Okay. If you enjoyed this, throw some hearts. I appreciate all of you. Y'all mean the world to me. I appreciate all your support. Y'all are awesome. I wish I had more time, but I do not. I am going to end on this video. This was really good. It encouraged my heart. It's just saying, like, who do you pour into? And I thought this would be a really good one to end on.
It's the best version of you, your coworkers or your spouse. Most couples would relate to this. Other people get our best versions way too much, and we get each other's most spent version. You look nicer when you're going to see people who matter less. You're switched on to the people that matter less. What would it look like if you got the best, everybody else got the rest? And it's just small changes, but it's like, let me not wear a hat every day. Let me dress up for a date that you didn't ask me to dress up for. It's like if I come home and I've had like a day that's been really full, and you're like, how are you? I'm like, shut up. So I just gave my best to people who I'm not married to, that true. Don't matter as much as you. And you get the, I'm tired. This cannot be the way.
And this he keeps going, but I just love that. Like, who are you giving your best to? And of course, I would play that video on a day when I'm in a sweatshirt. kind of counter. You know what? We all are growing, and I can work on this. I can work on dressing nicer for my husband and maybe for you, the audience. No, but seriously, think about who you give your best to. If you go away on a weekend with the guys or the girls and you are giving your best to them and you're like, this is the best time ever. I'm not saying you can't have a great time, but if you don't ever have that time with your kids or your spouse, then I would say you might need to look at that, because your spouse should be your best friend and your person that you are sharing this life with. And so who are you giving your best to? And I love that, even though it definitely hurt me on this episode of what I'm wearing and how I dress. But hey, again, we are all growing, and I'll work on that. So again, if you like this, throw some hearts in the chat. I appreciate all of you. Remember that you can write me at Ellisa@dearamericamedia.com, and you can DM me on Instagram if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them, or leave a comment. The comments help. So leave a comment. If you have a question, you can write it down there too. And we will just talk about all the things. So remember, if you have questions, all you have to do is ask, and I'll see you next week.